Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Conference and Members Meeting organized by ISET Conference in association with IRAJ. On the behalf of Organizing Committee, I'm Isaac Beira, Organizing Secretary. Would like to welcome you all for this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our organization. The motto behind this non-profit association is to bridge the gap between students, professors, academics, and industrialists from multidiscipline. Apart from organizing various seminars, expert talks, and conferences, we have various highly rated multidisciplinary journals in the field of science, engineering, technology, and management. Since our inception, we have been arranged various international conferences at various parts of the world like New York, London, Australia, Hong Kong, Dubai, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, India, etc. More than 1 lakh research papers have been published during our journey. Today, I'm glad to welcome you all as a member of this fastest growing network for the advancement of science and technology in terms of research and innovations. Dear friends, no country have become successful and developed without science and innovation. As we demand more easier our life and comfort, the only solution for this is to innovate more and more, emphasis more on science and innovation. It is said, history has proven that those who dare to imagine the impossible are the ones who break all human limitation. In every field of human endeavor, whether science, medicine, sports, the arts, or technology, the names of the people who imagine the impossible and achieve are engraved in our history. By breaking the limits of their imagination, they change the world. Now, I would like to welcome our participant to present the conference.
Thank you, sir. My name is Bajeesh Balakrishnan. I hope I am audible to you.
Yes.
Okay. So please allow me to share my screen first so that I can...
Sir, I have already shared you. I already make you co-host. You can share your screen.
Okay. Okay. Sure. So I'm just trying to share the screen. I hope my presentation is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. So... Yeah, so good afternoon once again. My name is Bajeesh Balakrishnan. I am a research scholar from Garden City University, which is based out of Bangalore, India. And my guide, Mr. R. Durai Pandian, is my mentor as well as guide for the particular research that I'm doing in the field of electronic human resources management, which is partly a concept of digital HR in the corporate environment. And today, I am actually taking one of the module of ANE-HRM, which is Electronic Human Resources Management. And that particular module is basically called as e-learning module. So the whole idea is basically to explain the concept of e-learning module, which is applied in the healthcare sector. We have also developed this product, and this particular product is currently in IPR filing, and which is pre-approved from the beginning stage. And we are asked to provide more documents related to the product as well as the features in order to ensure that we actually get the patent approved from the IPR Government of India offices. So just to give a heads up, the title of the paper is basically called as AI-based self-paced e-learning application and its merits, which is basically an ANE-HRM concept. AI basically stands for artificial intelligence. And giving a quick overview about what is ANE-HRM. ANE-HRM is basically an electronic human resources management tool, which is required for planning, implementation, and application of information technology for both networking and supporting of at least 2 individual or collective people in a shared services environment of performing HR activities. Basically, it is used in corporates, it can be used in academic sector, and it is like a connecting tool between 2 individuals in order to execute the work. So we have different types of ANE-HRM module. Just a quick recap. It starts from recruitment to performance management, e-learning, employee engagement, e-rewards, e-grievances, e-employee database. Multiple sectors, multiple modules are measured and comes under the umbrella of ANE-HRM. In this particular paper, I am going to discuss this module called e-learning, which is again an AI-based learning system. So how it works, I will explain. Before I explain, I'm just getting into the problem statement and the challenges that are faced. So this particular product that we have developed is actually meant for the healthcare professionals. There are areas where healthcare professionals are lacking in their skill development. So when I say healthcare professionals, it includes doctors, nursing staff, physical therapists, research scientists, or any other person who are working in the healthcare sectors or laboratories rather, and often come across with situations in which they require additional skills, in terms of building their knowledge in their day-to-day work or practices. In such situations, they often consult with their seniors or with their co-workers, or they try to seek their help in with other colleagues to get into to find a proper solutions to the issues that they face. The reasons for physical consultation also include, but not limited to, lack of resources, available, in their day-to-day work. Something which is available easily, as like an easy references, that is not available at times. Unavailability of internet from where they operate, like for example in operation theater or in a laboratory or on a powder making unit, they don't get that internet access. They don't get that network access. They don't get the access to smartphones or gadgets, or for various security related reasons. So basically, they get stuck in their work, and they need if they want to know something very urgent, they are not able to get into that. So in order to answer some of those issues that they face, which is on the job, which is basically what you call which is required on the spot, we have come up with a device which is basically a secure device that provides certain preloaded information to those doctors or to those healthcare professionals that will help them enable to access the required source of information from anywhere, with or without having an internet connection or any network accessibility. So that is the whole concept, to come up with an offline mode of learning, mode of providing an information to healthcare professionals. And this is what we have. This is how the whole the problem we have defined, and based on the problem, we have come up with a solution that could help the healthcare professionals on the job training. So whole system process workflow, how it works, it will work in three categories. One is basically called as the microprocessor device, which is like a handheld device. In between, there will be a power connectors, which is used to give necessary power supplies to the connector, as well as the output device. And the output device is basically an e-learning software that we have used, or an app that can be used, which can be connected to the what do you call, the microprocessor device. So the whole system has got a digital device. It has got an AI predictor, which helps to predict the learning requirements. And then there's an e-learning or ANE-HRM hub is there, which is basically used to store the required information. And it is basically kind of what you call an operator, which basically fetches the information and gives to the from the user, and gives an output to the user. And then we also have a cloud storage, which is basically a storing device. And then there's something called a data analytics also, which is used to help to fetch the report, like what kind of information has been accessed, what kind of training requirement has been accessed, what are the real training requirements. So many parameters. With the help of data analytics, we are trying to capture those information. And in between, there is something called e-learning software. What is e-learning software? I will explain you in the coming slides. So again, the system process workflow description, like I mentioned, it has a microcontroller to begin with, which has like a 0 and 1, which is like a digital device. 0 operates under 0 and 1 configuration. Then there's an AI which is used to predict the training requirements from the user, as well as it also helps the like when a user is trying to fetch in some information, trying to get one solution, like the problem is there, and the user is trying to key in some information to get that information on the go. That also in the artificial intelligence channel will actually pick up, and then that will help the user to with certain pre-keyed inputs will be given to the user, so that user will understand, okay, this is what I need from this particular information, and let's go and fetch this information. And in between, there is a power supply unit, and then there is an e-learning hub in between, and then, like I mentioned, the cloud storage for storing the learning contents, and then we have analytics for reports and other things. And there's something called MediLattice software, which I will come and explain in the next slide, which is the tool that we have developed. So in a nutshell, we have already developed the output device, which is called MediLattice software, which is an app that runs independently using in a web-based environment. And in between, there's a power supply unit, and towards the beginning stage, there is a microcontroller, which is basically we have patented under the IPR guidelines. So there's basically a microcontroller unit that operates independently, fetching the information and giving the required information to the user. So this is the bus diagram for the microcontroller. And this is the whole concept again, coming back to the system process workflow. It all starts from user trying to key in the required information, whatever the problem, whatever the real-time problem that he is trying to face, with the help of the microcontroller, which is denoted as a keypad on the top left. And then that information goes to the microcontroller. Microcontroller fetches that information. It basically encodes that, and then it transmits the signal. And once it transmits the signal, it is received, decoded, and then again, with the help of microcontroller, it goes to the relays and the drivers, which helps the entire microcontroller to activate on their own and fetch the required information to the connector, which basically connects to a software called as MediLattice software, which is again developed by our team. So what is MediLattice software? I will quickly explain you, which is basically like a small demo of the product. MediLattice is basically a learning solution. It's designed by healthcare experts. So we have consulted many healthcare experts to actually get required information, to get the information in terms of the solutions. So we have tied up with many healthcare professionals who actually gave us inputs in terms of preparing the manual, preparing the guidelines, preparing the the solutions for our software. And then once we got that solutions incorporated by those healthcare experts, we actually developed the product called MediLattice, which is basically like I mentioned, it is meant for people who are from the healthcare services providers. And this tool has multiple features. One is basically a one-click setup, which basically helps the healthcare professionals to access the data from anywhere they want. And then they also have something called certification program, wherein if they think that they want to enhance their skills, from one point to another point. If they want to, say, for example, a doctor wants to enhance their skills in certain areas and they want to apply for a certification through this particular intuitive learning portal, they can actually apply for those certifications. There are multiple levels of manuals and booklets and training materials available for those healthcare professionals in order to prepare for those certifications, prepare for building their knowledge and many other things. Because we have taken those inputs from many leading healthcare professionals across the globe, primarily from US and India, just to be very precise here. So this is how it looks like, the whole product. And basically, coming back to the product again, it is already being launched in the market. We have already received 2 to 3 customers who are actually using this product, and based on that, we have also taken a small survey from them, like what is their user experience, what are their thoughts about using this product. In terms of multiple levels, like for example, how user friendly is the whole system, the technical assistance of the system, how easy is to use the whole system, how flexible the contents are, within the system, whether it is really a time bound, whether it's really like investing too much of time, from a user perspective, and whether the users are able to relate the contents of the learning system with their actual problems, which is very, very, very important. Because unless until you don't correlate to the problems, then the materials are not of no use. And as you can see, the whole survey that when we took the questionnaires, we got maximum satisfaction, which is in between very satisfied and satisfied. There were a couple of guys in the neutrals, but that doesn't mean that they are completely, dissatisfied. Probably one area where we had some percentage of dissatisfaction was the technical assistance. Maybe it is because of the technical glitches probably they would have felt while using the system. And another thing that we did was we also try to gauge the advantages of the e-learning tool, like in terms of how work related the data is, how good the learning contents are, the UI of the overall tool, whether the tool can really work independently, whether this is able to reinforce the required knowledge, and whether it has enough of assignments and case studies to practice. And then when user is stuck in certain areas, whether they are able to ask questions to their seniors or experts, and whether those questions were actually solved by those experts or the channel of experts, and how collaboratively the system works overall. And of course, the most important thing is the recording system as well, whether the system is capable of recording the whole training content and all. And as you can see, the results, most of the results are in between all of the occasions, frequently and occasionally, which means that there's a high level of satisfaction among the user, and the system actually really is working very fine. Though we have just launched the system, but we are trying to get more customers on those lines. But whatever customers that we have received in the recent last 6 to 8 months, we have really got some positive responses. And just to conclude, the overall concept of the paper and the presentation and the product demo of the tool, from the given scenario, it is evident that with the help of technology, it is possible to drive the learning systems, not just in an organization, but also at a personal level. The core focus of the research paper is to introduce the EHRM learning module that helps students to access the learning data irrespective of from where they operate. In addition to this, the learning applications has fewer other checks and parameters that helps the students to even reach out to experts for suggestions and recommendations. It is also related to their queries. And so basically, it is not just a learning platform, but the tool also works towards predicting their training requirements, as well as suggesting the students on the learning materials, course contents by benchmarking their profiles with their peers. So there are multiple advantages, not just by giving a simple training kind of solutions, but also predicting the learning and giving more possible solutions. And moreover, we have also developed an AI chatbot, which basically helps to connect with the users or the students to the system, as well as with their peers and experts, in order to get into the normal, what you call the question and answer sessions, where user can ask the questions and experts can actually answer them. So this is in a nutshell the product and the product demo. And the current product is like half done, which is like the Medilattice product is already out in the market. And now the first part of the product, which is a microcontroller device, which is currently under IPR filing. And we are very sure that we will actually get into the patenting very fast by say end of this year. And once the patenting will be done, then we will definitely build the product and launch the product. So that's the overall idea of the whole paper, and this is the conclusion.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge and presentation of research paper, and also attending the conference today. I would like to thank to all our sponsors and coordinators. I'd also like to thank our president. We will happy to hear your comments and compliments or suggestion at our Facebook and Twitter page. Our journal publishing partner, IRAJ International Journals, which will mail the journal notification to you very soon. Thank you once again, and hope to see some other part of the world very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.